You wait for motivation as if it is a sign from the heavens. You wait to feel ready, to feel inspired, to feel strong. But feelings are mist that vanish with the sun. I learned early that the mind is a liar when it is comfortable. It whispers excuses with a soft voice and calls them wisdom. It tells you tomorrow is safer than today, that rest is earned before the work is done, that desire should lead action. This is how men lose before the battle even begins. Understand this clearly: motivation is nothing more than emotion. It rises when life is easy and disappears the moment resistance appears. It comes when the path is clear and leaves when the road turns steep. If you build your life on motivation, you build it on weather. Some days there will be wind at your back, most days there will be none. And when the storm comes, motivation will abandon you without apology. Discipline is different. Discipline does not ask how you feel. It does not care if the body is tired or the mind is heavy. Discipline moves even when the heart resists. That is why it is a weapon. A weapon does not hesitate. A blade does not wait to feel sharp. It cuts because that is its purpose. When you live by discipline, action becomes inevitable. You remove negotiation from your life. There is no debate in the morning. There is no discussion with weakness. There is only execution. I was not born fearless. I did not wake each day filled with fire and certainty. Many mornings were cold, silent, and heavy. The body resisted. The mind searched for escape, but I did not ask myself if I wanted to train. I asked only one question: what must be done? That question silences emotion. It strips life down to duty. When duty is clear, hesitation dies. Men today are taught to chase motivation as if it is power. They consume words, images, and voices hoping to feel something that will carry them forward. But borrowed fire burns fast and leaves nothing behind. True power is built in silence, in repetition, in days that feel empty. Discipline thrives in those days. It grows stronger when no one is watching, when there is no reward, when progress is invisible. When you rely on motivation, you train yourself to quit. You tell your mind that action is optional. You teach it that discomfort is a signal to stop. Over time, this becomes your nature. You hesitate not because you are weak, but because you have practiced hesitation. Discipline reverses this. Discipline teaches the mind that action is non-negotiable. Pain becomes familiar. Resistance becomes expected. You stop seeing obstacles as warnings and begin to see them as confirmation that you are on the correct path. There is a moment every man faces, though few recognize it. It is the moment when excitement fades and routine remains. This is where motivation dies. This is where discipline is born. Most turn back here. They change paths, search for something new, something easier, something that promises feeling again. The warrior stays. He stays because his identity is not tied to how he feels. It is tied to what he does. Do not misunderstand me. Discipline is not cruelty toward yourself. It is clarity. It is respect for your future self. When you act without waiting for desire, you free yourself from the chaos of emotion. You become steady, reliable, dangerous in your consistency. Others will rise and fall around you. You will continue forward, unnoticed at first, unstoppable later. I have seen men with great talent defeated by men with discipline. Talent shines early and fades when challenged. Discipline is dull at first and terrifying with time. Each day you act without motivation, you sharpen the blade. Each day you obey your own command, you strengthen your authority over yourself. Eventually, the mind stops resisting. It learns that your word is final. This is why discipline is power. It creates trust between you and yourself. When you decide something, it happens. There is no delay, no excuse, no internal rebellion. That trust is rare. That trust changes everything. A man who trusts himself does not need confidence. He does not need praise. He does not need reassurance. He moves because movement is who he is. If you want to wake like the 1%, stop chasing the feeling of motivation and begin building the structure of discipline. Strip your life of unnecessary choices. Decide once and execute daily. When the body complains, continue. When the mind doubts, continue. When nothing seems to change, continue. This is the path that breaks others and forges you. In the end, motivation will watch from the sidelines as discipline carries you through the fire. You speak often of balance, of peace, of comfort as if these are rewards to be claimed before the work is finished. But comfort is a clever enemy. It does not attack you with force. It invites you to sit, to soften, to delay. It convinces you that nothing is urgent, that tomorrow will be better suited for effort. I learned that if you allow comfort to guide your days, it will quietly steal your edge. Not all losses come from defeat. Many come from ease. Discipline demands that you choose discomfort before it chooses you. This is not punishment. It is preparation. The body and the mind must be introduced to hardship regularly, or they forget how to endure. When life eventually applies pressure, the untrained spirit collapses under its weight. I did not wait for battle to teach me pain. I welcomed it long before I needed it. Cold mornings, empty stomachs, lonely roads, these were not sacrifices, they were teachers. Each day you avoid discomfort, you shrink without noticing. Each day you face it deliberately, you expand. This is not philosophy, this is law. The mind adapts to whatever you feed it. Feed it ease and it grows fragile. Feed it challenge and it grows sharp. Discipline is the hand that selects the meal. Many believe discipline is about strict schedules and rigid rules. They miss the deeper truth. Discipline is about choice. It is the decision to do what strengthens you even when something easier is within reach. The easy path is always nearby, always calling. It promises rest without cost, but nothing of value grows there. Strength requires resistance. Clarity requires struggle. Mastery requires long periods of discomfort with no applause. I chose hardship not because I enjoyed suffering but because I understood its value. Discomfort strips away illusion. When you are tired, hungry, or alone, there is no room for pretense. You meet yourself as you truly are. This meeting is uncomfortable, but it is honest. And honesty is the foundation of power. A man who knows himself cannot be manipulated by circumstance. Modern men fear discomfort because they have been taught to avoid it. They believe pain is a sign of failure. I tell you, it is a sign of progress when chosen wisely. The body complains when it is changing. The mind resists when it is being reshaped. If you retreat at the first sign of resistance, you will remain exactly as you are. Discipline teaches you to stay. There were days when the path felt endless, when no one witnessed the effort, when the results were invisible. Those days mattered most. Anyone can act when the reward is near. Very few act when the outcome is uncertain. Discipline lives in uncertainty. It thrives when there is no guarantee. That is why it builds something unbreakable. You stop depending on outcomes and start depending on process. When you consistently choose discomfort, something changes quietly inside you. Fear loses its voice, not because you become fearless, but because fear becomes familiar. You have walked with it before, you have moved despite it, so when it appears again, it no longer controls your steps. This is the true freedom discipline offers, not comfort but command. Comfort weakens your ability to decide. It makes you reactive, always responding to how you feel. Discomfort sharpens decision-making. It forces you to act from principle instead of emotion. Over time, this becomes your nature. You stop asking what is easy and start asking what is necessary. This single shift separates the ordinary from the formidable. I did not seek a soft life, I sought a resilient one. The storms do not ask if you are prepared, they arrive when they arrive. Discipline ensures that when they come, you are already standing. You do not scramble to become strong in the moment of crisis. You have already done the work, you have already paid the price. If you want discipline to surpass motivation, you must train it daily through discomfort. Wake earlier than required, work longer than expected. Stay focused when distraction is easier. These choices seem small, but they accumulate. Over time, they form a spirit that does not bend. Others will search for motivation when things become difficult. You will already be moving. Choose the hard path while it is still a choice, and it will carry you when it is no longer one. You look for motivation as if it were a weapon you can draw when the battle begins. But motivation is unreliable. It arrives when it wishes and disappears without warning. If you build your life on it, you will move only when you feel ready, and readiness is a rare feeling. I learned early that waiting for the right emotion is another form of delay. Action must not depend on desire, it must depend on decision. The mind is clever at negotiating with weakness. It whispers that today is not the day, that conditions are not perfect, that rest is deserved. These thoughts feel reasonable, even wise, but they are traps. The enemy rarely announces itself as danger. Often it appears as comfort wrapped in logic. Discipline is the ability to see through this disguise and act anyway. I did not wake each day inspired, I woke with purpose. Purpose does not care about mood, purpose does not ask how you feel, it simply points forward and waits for you to follow. On days when the body was heavy and the spirit quiet, I moved because movement was required. Over time, this taught me something important. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. When you act despite resistance, energy awakens. When you wait for energy, nothing moves. Many men believe they lack discipline, but what they truly lack is trust in themselves. They have broken promises to their own spirit too many times. Each time you say you will act and do not, something inside you weakens. Discipline repairs this damage. Every kept promise, no matter how small, restores self-respect. This is how inner strength is rebuilt, not through grand gestures but through quiet consistency. I trained my mind to obey commands, not emotions. If the body said stop, I asked whether it was injured or merely uncomfortable. If the mind said wait, I asked whether there was danger or simply fear. Most of the time it was fear, fear of effort, fear of failure, fear of being tested. Discipline taught me to acknowledge fear without surrendering to it. Fear can speak, but it cannot decide. There is power in routine when it is chosen consciously. Repetition sharpens intention. When you repeat a hard action daily, it stops feeling hard, it becomes normal. And when difficulty becomes normal, adversity loses its advantage over you. Others panic when conditions are harsh. You remain calm because you have lived there before. This calm is not softness, it is readiness. I did not rely on sudden bursts of effort. I relied on steady pressure applied over time. Water does not break stone through force but through persistence. Discipline works the same way. Small actions performed relentlessly reshape the mind. They carve pathways of strength where doubt once lived. This is why discipline outlasts motivation. Motivation burns fast and fades. Discipline endures quietly. You may believe that strict discipline limits freedom. In truth, it creates it. A man controlled by impulse is never free. He is dragged by cravings, moods, and distractions. Discipline cuts these chains. When you can act regardless of how you feel, nothing outside you can command you. This is mastery, not over others but over yourself. There were times when no one understood the choices I made. Why walk alone when companionship was available? Why train when rest was tempting? Why continue when there was no immediate reward? The answer was simple. I was not building a life for the present moment. I was building a spirit capable of surviving any moment. Discipline looks forward when others look now. When discipline replaces motivation, excuses lose their power. You stop explaining and start executing. You do not need perfect conditions. You do not need approval. You need only commitment. This commitment becomes your anchor. Storms may rage, but you do not drift. You know what must be done and you do it. Understand this clearly. Discipline is not cruelty toward yourself. It is respect. It is the decision to become someone you can rely on. Each disciplined act is a message to your future self saying, I prepared for you. Few gifts are greater than that. If you wish to be unshaken, train when it is inconvenient. If you wish to be dangerous to obstacles, act when motivation is absent. Let discipline carry you when feeling cannot, and you will discover a strength that does not fade.